For decades, we've been told a seductive lie, that our brains are split into two warring camps. You're either a logical, analytical left brain thinker, or a creative, intuitive right brain spirit. We use these labels to explain why we struggle with math, or why we can't seem to organize our lives. But modern neuroscience has a different story to tell. The hemisphere myth isn't just inaccurate, it's a mental cage that limits your potential. Today, we are deconstructing this myth to understand how your brain actually functions as a unified system, and how that realization is the key to mastering your focus and behavior. Why does this myth persist? Because humans love categories. It's easier to say, "I'm just not wired for discipline," than to address a breakdown in our habitual architecture. When we label ourselves as one-sided, we create a self-fulfilling prophecy. This is a system-level failure. By believing our abilities are fixed by a dominant hemisphere, we stop building the necessary neural pathways for the other side. We bypass the reality of neuropsychological mechanics. The brain doesn't work in isolation, it works in integration. Angle 1, the myth of localization versus the reality of connectivity. While certain functions, like language processing, often lean toward one side, no complex task happens in just one hemisphere, be it painting a masterpiece or solving an equation. People think creativity is a right brain spark. In reality, creativity requires the left brain's logic to structure ideas, and the right brain's context to find meaning. If you think you're right-brained, you might avoid left brain systems like scheduling, which actually provides the structure creativity needs to flourish. What happens to your productivity when you stop viewing logic and creativity as enemies? Silence for 3 seconds. Angle 2, limbic friction and the illusion of logic. The real split in the brain isn't left versus right. It's top-down versus bottom-up. It's the prefrontal cortex, rationality, versus the limbic system, emotion. We blame our logical left brain for being cold, but our struggles with discipline usually come from limbic friction. This is the emotional resistance to effort. We mistake an emotional block for a lack of logical wiring. Is your analytical side failing you? Or is your emotional baseline just unmanaged? Silence for 3 seconds. Angle 3. How the myth stifles habitual architecture. Habits are formed in the basal ganglia, located deep in the center, crossing both hemispheres. We think habits are boring and left-brained. By distancing ourselves from left brain traits, we reject the very systems, routines, and environmental design that automate success. Sustainable change requires an identity shift that embraces the whole brain. Are you using a myth to justify avoiding the friction of building new habits? Silence for 3 seconds. Angle 4, dopamine and the unified pursuit. The dopamine system, which drives our motivation, is a global brain network. It doesn't care if a goal is artistic or financial. We think we need creative inspiration, right brain, to start. Action precedes motivation. By waiting for a right brain mood, we fail to trigger the dopamine required for pursuit. What if your creative block is actually just a neurochemical baseline issue? Silence for 3 seconds. The biggest mistake is strategic labeling. We use the left to right brain myth as a shield against growth. We say, "I'm a right brain person, so I can't do spreadsheets." This is a misuse of the brain's plasticity. Another mistake is trying to balance the hemispheres through gimmicky exercises, rather than focusing on environmental primacy, shaping your surroundings to support the behavior you want, regardless of your type. The brain is not a collection of parts. It is a prediction machine. It seeks efficiency through integration. When you learn a new skill, both sides are on fire with activity. As you master it, the activity shifts to deeper, automated structures. Discipline isn't a left brain trait. It's the result of your entire brain reaching a state of homeostatic efficiency. Stop identifying as a half-brain thinker. Instead, focus on limbic friction. When you feel resistance to a task, don't ask which side of my brain is working. Ask, how can I reduce the friction in my environment? To make this action inevitable, one grounded takeaway: design one 10-minute system today, like prepping your workspace, that your logical side plans and your creative side benefits from. Understanding that your brain is a unified system is the first step, but even a unified brain can be hijacked by its own reward chemistry. In our next session, we'll explore the pleasure-pain balance, The real reason why the modern world makes it so hard to feel satisfied. Closing theme music builds. Subscribe to build a better system for your mind. Because understanding is the first step toward agency. Music fades out. You are not limited by your biology. You are limited only by your models of it. Break the cage. Build the system. And reclaim your focus. Thank you for watching. Don't let myths define your path. Science is a tool. Use it. See you in the next one.